Well, hi there. Warm welcome. You're watching Decoding Now, and I'm Meghna Deka. Well, at times, words speak louder than actions. Modern diplomacy is not just restricted to MOUs, but also messages by optics. And few global leaders have understood that better than Prime Minister Modi. From bear hugs to body language, from riverfront rapport to Ganga Aarti goodwill, Prime Minister Modi has turned diplomatic optics into a global talking point. The viral videos of global leaders' body language has turned into instant messages. They are liked, shared, and at times even trolled. Well, today it was the Melodi moment that you can see on your screens as well between Prime Minister Modi and the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, which is breaking the internet. But this isn't the first time that Modi diplomacy has grabbed global headlines. Remember the Howdy Modi event and the Tianjin trifecta? We are going to remind you of all those moments. Every moment carefully crafted, orchestrated, and delivered on cue. Handshakes, hugs, shoulder pats, smiles. In the world of high-stakes geopolitics, every gesture sends a message. Well, tonight on Decoding Now, we will be decoding the soft power of strategic storytelling. This is going to be a breakdown of all the visuals, the symbolism, the global messaging which is going to come your way. Let's start at Rome. In the last leg of his 5-nation tour, Prime Minister Modi swung by Italy and met Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni in Rome. This moment went viral after a light-hearted exchange over Melo-Di toffee, the gift of Prime Minister Modi for Milan. In fact, watch why hashtag Melodi started trending again today.
Prime Minister Modi brought us a gift, a very, very good toffee. Melody. Prime Minister Modi brought us a gift, a very, very good toffee. Melody. A very, very good toffee. Melody.
Well, that's the reason the hashtag Melody is now again trending. But let's remind you of the previous Melody moments and how the Italian Prime Minister herself had used that hashtag. Well, remember December 2023 at COP28 in Dubai, you had the Prime Minister of Italy putting out that picture, that selfie that you can see on your screens with the caption, "Good friends at COP28, hashtag Melody." She put that out from her own personal account. Then you had in September 2023 at the G20 summit in New Delhi, you had the Melody sharing a laugh. And there you have it. A lot of these pictures and trends were getting created yet again. Then you had the Raisena dialogue, which happened in March 2023 in the national capital, where she called Prime Minister the world's most loved leader. So the bonhomie, the messaging is bang on, and it cannot be louder. But remember, back in June 2024, it was the first time that Melody broke the internet by posting a selfie video from Italy on the sidelines of G7 summit. Listen in to Team Melody. And this is not us saying it, is the Italian Prime Minister herself.
Hello from the Melody team. Hello from the Melody team. Hello from the Melody team. Prime Minister Modi brought us a gift, a very, very good toffee. Melody.
So we just got you the background and what happened today to the Melody moments. Let's tell you how the company which manufactures Melodi, which is Parle, yes, one of the most reputed Indian companies. It has Desi roots. Atmanirbharta projected their large and global headlines, if I may point out right now. Well, Parle, the company, was quick to jump in and try and capitalize on the free publicity. Suddenly, when they found themselves breaking the internet and Melody became a global storm, a global rage. In fact, they reposted this video of the Italian Prime Minister and they replied with a caption which said, "Sweet message." In fact, we've spoken to one of the top bosses at Melody. Yes, we are talking about about Parle right now, the effect of Melody, how it had on what it meant to Melody in terms of the stock itself. The major e-commerce quick delivery giants such as Blinkit, Swiggy and Big Basket, all of them suddenly ran out of Melody. Yes, that's right. We are going to tell you on your screens, you can see how Blinkit, well, we tried it right here in office. We tried ordering Melody and guess what? It was out of stock. It was out of stock even in Swiggy Instamart. So if you go and try this out in your town, we tried it here in the national capital Delhi, it was out of stock. Even if you try Big Basket, there is no Melody which is available. Well, that's the power of internet. Much beyond the MOUs. Well, earlier, our colleague Hina Gambhir spoke with the Parle vice president. He gets his reaction on this Melody moment and what it meant for his brand of Melody to go viral, and that too promoted by 2 prime ministers of the world. Listen in.
One video is going viral today on social media. That video is of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. And in this video, the Italian Prime Minister is saying that Prime Minister, carried a packet of Melo-Di, which is a product of your company, as a gift for the Italian Prime Minister. I mean, firstly, I want to understand from you, when did you see this video? How did you get to know about this news? And what was your first reaction?
So I've been getting, this video since morning, and I think it's breaking internet right now. It's all over the place. There's, great chemistry between Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and Italian Prime Minister Ms. Meloni. Every time they met, there used to be memes around them, and they were, very fondly nicknamed as Meloni plus Modi, so Melody that way. And I think, it was primarily because of that popularity that Honorable Prime Minister gifted this particular product, Melody, to Italian Prime Minister. And, the video has been going around since morning. Very pleasantly surprised when I came across it this morning, and I've been flooded with lots of messages since morning on the same.
I guess you can say it came as a sweet surprise for Parle, isn't it? Meanwhile, it's not just this packet of toffees from India, but also there were many other moments which were breaking the internet. Breathtaking pictures started emerging from Rome, Prime Minister Modi, and his visit and the meetings that he had with the Italian Prime Minister. You have firm handshakes there on your screens, followed by dinner pictures, the car selfies. Yes, these selfies also really break the internet, go viral. And then you had the Colosseum visit pictures as well. In fact, Prime Minister Modi used such moments which appear to be as big as the MOUs themselves. So clearly, Modi diplomacy is defined by his bear hugs. Sample these visuals from 2015, when then US President Barack Obama was the chief guest at the Republic Day parade, because we are trying to explain to you how it's not just about this Melody moment. Prime Minister Modi knows how to create that buzz with his body language, with his warm handshakes and the bear hugs, and how he's used that to build diplomacy and relationships of India with other nations. For example, building India's relationship with America. You can see on your screens the warm bear hug with the American president, the then American president, Barack Obama. He was greeted with a warm bear hug, as I was just telling you, Modi style. Later, there was a drizzle at the parade, which couldn't wash out the bonhomie. In fact, Modi and Obama shared smiles under black umbrellas. They leaned towards each other in animated conversation. The exchanges which happened during Republic Day parade, where Obama was the chief guest, screamed political comfort and personal chemistry. Let's show you the next visual. The regime in America, right after that, changed, but the bromance continued with India. 22nd of September, you have none other than the 2019, which witnessed the Howdy Modi event in Houston. It was a roaring mega event where Trump clasped Modi's hand. They walked side by side. He walked beside him like a campaign partner. There were shoulder pats. There were raised arms. Deafening stadium applause turned diplomacy into a spectacle with this one. Next visual. Well, at times, the scenario itself is the best possible optics. Like this Modi-Shinzo Abe moment in Varanasi 2015. With a tilak on his forehead and a puja thali in his hands, Shinzo Abe Then Japan's Prime Minister was pictured attending the Ganga Aarti alongside Prime Minister Modi at the Dashwamedh Ghat, symbolizing India's connect. This moment reflected the very special bond that Japan and India shared of mutual honor and respect of our culture, of our tradition. The next visual. This relationship with the then Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe only deepened further in 2017. Sample this chemistry between the two leaders. Shinzo Abe and Modi, they strolled casually along the Sabarmati riverfront, laughing, pointing at the cultural display, and even chatting without any of their aides crowding that entire scene. These visuals were very carefully crafted to show trust beyond any of the transactional diplomacy. That's the importance of these optics. So look how diplomacy can also be seen in a civilizational partnership. In fact, you had in the backdrop of the 7th century rock-cut chariots of Pancharatha overlooking the Bay of Bengal, where you had Prime Minister Modi and the Chinese President Xi Jinping. Later on, they even sipped coconut water. They engaged in a casual interaction in a very serene setting, sending out signals of positive atmospherics in bilateral ties. Prime Minister Modi even took President Xi Jinping for a guided tour of the famous World Heritage Site, marking the relationship between the two ancient civilizations. So optically, it is very, very significant what you see on your screens. But now let's fast forward to September 2025, the symbolic Tianjin trifecta at the SCO summit. Yes, we are talking about the trifecta of Trump, of Modi, Xi Jinping, and President Putin. Prime Minister Modi can be seen in a huddle, laughing, sharing a laugh with Russian President Putin, Chinese President Xi Jinping. This power handshake was the strongest message to the US President Donald Trump, who had imposed heavy tariff on all three nations. Modi's easy camaraderie with the two leaders stood out against this backdrop of geopolitical tensions, putting a global spotlight onto the high-profile gathering at the SCO summit. This is the power of optics, much louder than any MOU, any pact that you can sign. It's the message which instantly can be pushed out on social media, goes viral, gets liked, gets trolled. Either ways, it is unmissable. The power of optics. That's what we are going to be discussing. Joining us today on the show, we have Mattia Ferraresi, an Italian journalist, joining us live from Italy. Also joining us, Dr. Rakhi Anand Agarwal, a social activist. Let me go across to Mattia Ferraresi. How do you read into this video which is going viral? I know in India, and I'm sure it's going viral in Italy as well, the Melodi moment as it is now being called. But the significance of these smiles, the camaraderie in the relationship between the two nations as well.
Definitely viral here too, and as you recollect, this is a long story. This is like this chemistry has been there for years at this point, and we're facing, I think, two leaders that are absolutely mastering the art of the optics and of like showing with their body language, with their very informal and very warm behavior, sort of the bilateral agreement that they have. So this is clearly a partnership that is built on like personality and chemistry, but it's also a partnership that is built on politics. And you know, Italy, like as a middle power, and Meloni's government has made many efforts to reach out to countries like India and to build new partnership. And in the past, Italy's diplomatic relations with India was not always perfect and not always very productive. Meloni worked very hard to reestablish that, both in terms of trade and in terms of security, especially when the closest ally of Italy, of course, the United States, is still there, but the relationship with Trump has been rocky for Meloni in the past. So I think Meloni is betting a lot on relationship like the one with Modi, that at this point is very well established, and she's not missing the opportunity to show that even with viral videos, even with very warm informal meetings, showing how great they get along, which I think is very genuine too.
Yeah, It is genuine, and perhaps the chemistry also reflects the chemistry between the two nations, how it has been evolving over the time. In that case, let me go across to Dr. Rakhi Anand Agarwal. We all know that Prime Minister Modi is a champion of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now you have an Indian made in India brand like Parle hitting the global headlines. It's literally selling out here in India. People across in Europe must be sitting and Googling what Parle's Melody is all about. Do you think this is perhaps the best brand promotion of Desi brand as well?
I think this is a part of a greater strategy that we are looking. It is Melody now is not just a Spotify playlist. It is basically a strategic diplomatic move. I think what Mr. Modi has done today is not something which I wasn't expecting. Even before when I heard that he's going to Europe, I thought, you know, this Melody moment is definitely going to come. But in this way, I never thought. So this is meme. What are memes? Basically, memes are creative, quick, viral content. And today, the Gen Z, if you think, you know, they relate to these memes a lot. So if you are creating an interest by the Gen Z onto the political affairs, I think half the strategy is taken care of. You can imagine, you know, if the Gen Z started taking interest in our foreign affairs, how it's going to go. So I think that is a good thing that I see in this relationship. And of course, as our other speakers said, that, you know, the collaboration between the two countries and the trust building between the two countries, definitely it increases when you have a good rapport with the international leaders and involving the greater part of the generation. It is all coming for the good reasons. Basically, it is a diplomatic strategy. It is not something which is not thought of. And I really appreciate, you know, PM Modi has always had this charismatic aura, and it comes from his spiritual being. That is what I think. You know, everywhere he goes, he creates a mark, be it with Trump, Howdy Modi, be it with Putin, be it with any leader of the world. He always gets this special attention. And it is a matter of such a pride for our country that we have such a leader who can represent our country in the geopolitical scenario today. And for all
also
the good
build
reasons.
this charismatic relationship with all of them. We are going to put out those visuals of Prime Minister Modi with the other world leaders as well. The trifecta, for example, which had happened in Tianjin, that was very significant. That came bang in the middle when you had Russia, India and China battling the Trump tariff. In the midst of it all, you had that trifecta which happened. We are going to put out the 4 windows so that you can see all the 4 windows of handshakes, of these hugs, of Howdy Modi. All of that together puts together what Modi diplomacy is. But Mattia Ferraresi is also here on the show. And as he rightly pointed out, you also have a prime minister who's very good with the optics. The importance of this Melody moment, because this is not the first time that the Italian prime minister herself has put it out. She herself is the one who popularized the hashtag Melody, and she is the one who put out this selfie video as well with a packet of Melody toffee. What is that play?
I think if you
I'll put that question across to Mattia Ferraresi.
Giorgia Meloni is extremely skilled in doing this and really being warm, being liked, and establishing like deep relational relations with other leaders. And she's really betting a lot on that. Her whole career is also built not just on her political strategic abilities, but also on her ability to foster and cultivate personal relationships. So we're seeing that at the highest level with Modi, in which clearly the affinity is there. But let me add this little thing. In the culture, and maybe not many people knows this, in the culture of Meloni's political party and in the conservative type of brand that Meloni is part of, there is a deep cultural affinity with Indian culture and a deep fascination with Indian culture. So down there, there is a running sort of a deep running esteem and interest in Indian culture. So we should not be surprised that among many leaders, probably Meloni, not just simply for political reason, but for deeper cultural affinities, picked Modi as a particularly liked and appreciated partner in terms of politics, because there's also like this deeper fascination with Indian culture that has been there for centuries at this point. So that element is also there, and we cannot see that visibly, but this is like big part of Meloni's cultural baggage.
Oh, that's very interesting what you're pointing out. The cultural ties, the civilizational ties between the two nations, which also buoys the relationship between the two leaders of today. Thank you so much, Mattia Ferraresi, as well as Dr. Rakhi Anand Agarwal for joining us here on the show and explaining to us what's behind the optics, the messaging, which is just as loud and clear. With that, we're going to be wrapping up the show. I'll see you again tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. right here on Times Now on Decoding Now.